They say ignorance is bliss. I used to think that was just something people said to make themselves feel better about not knowing things. Now I understand it completely, because there are some things you can never unknow. Some truths that, once revealed, change everything forever. My name is Ryan. I'm 35 years old. And 3 months ago, I discovered that the daughter I've loved and raised for 10 years isn't biologically mine. It was supposed to be educational, fun, even. Little did I know it would destroy my entire world. Emma was so enthusiastic about it. "Dad, we get to see if I have your nose or Mom's eyes." She was bouncing around the kitchen, waving the consent forms. My wife, Sarah, stood by the sink, and I remember noticing how still she'd gone. How pale. "Honey," Sarah said, her voice tight, "maybe we should just skip this project. It's optional, right?" Emma's face fell. "But Mom, everyone's doing it." And Mrs. Patterson said, "It's the coolest project of the year." I should have paid more attention to Sarah's reaction, but I was focused on Emma, on not wanting her to feel left out. "Come on, Sarah. It's just a cheek swab. What's the harm?" Sarah opened her mouth, closed it, then forced a smile. "You're right. Of course. Let's do it." We did the swabs that night. Emma was so excited, carefully sealing them in the provided envelopes, labeling them with her neat handwriting. I ruffled her hair, kissed her goodnight, and thought nothing more of it. 3 weeks later, Emma's teacher called. Mrs. Patterson. She asked if she could speak to both Sarah and me. Said there was an issue with Emma's project. She wouldn't elaborate over the phone. We went to the school the next day. Mrs. Patterson looked uncomfortable, kept glancing at Sarah with this expression I couldn't quite read. Pity? Concern? "Mr. and Mrs. Castellano," she started, "I need to discuss Emma's genetics project. The results came back, and there's a discrepancy." "A discrepancy?" I repeated. She pushed a folder across the desk. "According to the DNA analysis, Mr. Castellano cannot be Emma's biological father. The markers don't match. I thought you should know before Emma sees the results." I turned to Sarah. She was crying. Not the shocked, confused tears I expected. These were different. These were tears of someone who'd been caught. "Sarah?" My voice broke on her name. She looked at me, and in that moment, I knew. I knew it was true. The test wasn't wrong. The samples hadn't been mixed up. My wife had been keeping a secret for 10 years. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Ryan, I'm so sorry." Mrs. Patterson quietly excused herself, giving us privacy. I sat there, staring at this woman I'd been married to for 12 years, trying to process what was happening. "How long have you known?" My voice was calm. Too calm. The calm before the storm. "Since before she was born," Sarah admitted. "I suspected when I found out I was pregnant. Did my own test when she was a baby. I've known for 10 years. Who?" I asked. "Who is her father?" Sarah's face crumpled. Michael Harris." The name meant nothing to me at first. Then it clicked. Michael Harris. Her high school boyfriend. The one she'd dated before me. The one she claimed she'd lost touch with years ago. "Your ex?" I could barely get the words out. Wait. A horrifying thought occurred to me. You said you suspected when you found out you were pregnant. Which means she wouldn't meet my eyes. It happened around the same time. I was with both of you that month. I didn't know for sure until after Emma was born. And by then, she trailed off. By then, it was easier to lie. I finished for her, my voice cold. I stood up. I had to get out of that room, away from her, before I said or did something I'd regret. Does he know? Michael, does he know he has a daughter? Sarah's silence was answer enough. He knows. My voice was barely a whisper. All this time, he's known, and you've been... What? Seeing him? Letting him be part of her life while I was kept in the dark? Not like that, Sarah said quickly. We're not together. But yes, he's been in her life, as a family friend. Uncle Mike, Emma calls him. I couldn't deny him the chance to know his daughter Ryan. I couldn't. Uncle Mike. I felt sick. I'd met Michael. Multiple times, he'd been at Emma's birthday parties. I'd shaken his hand, thanked him for the gifts he brought, invited him to barbecues. All while he knew a secret that would destroy me. I walked out of that school in a daze. Got in my car, drove. I don't even remember where I went. I just drove until my hands stopped shaking and I could think clearly. But here's the thing that really gutted me. Even knowing the truth, even with this betrayal burning in my chest, I still loved Emma. She was still my little girl. The one who hugged me tight after bad dreams. Who made me terrible breakfast in bed on Father's Day. Who looked at me with complete trust and called me Daddy. Biology didn't change that. But it changed everything else. I hired a lawyer that same week. A good one. She specialized in family law and paternity cases. Her name was Jennifer Marks, and she didn't pull any punches. This is going to get messy, she told me in our first meeting. Paternity fraud cases always do. The law varies by state, but generally speaking, if you've acted as the father for 10 years, you have parental rights and responsibilities. But you also have grounds for legal action against your wife for the deception. I don't want to hurt Emma, I said. I need you to understand that. Whatever happens, I don't want her caught in the middle. Jennifer nodded. Unfortunately, Mr. Castellano, she's already in the middle. The question is how we handle it from here. Do you want to maintain custody? Yes. I didn't even have to think about it. She's my daughter. I raised her. I love her. Biology doesn't change that. Then we fight for custody. And we need to address the biological father, Michael Harris. If he's known about Emma all this time and hasn't established legal paternity, we can use that. He essentially abandoned his parental rights. The next few weeks were hell. I moved out of our house, got a small apartment nearby so I could still see Emma regularly. Sarah and I agreed to keep the truth from Emma until we figured out how to handle it. But maintaining that facade was torture. Emma was confused and hurt by the separation. "Why can't you and Mom fix it, Daddy?" she asked one night, tears in her eyes. "Is it because of me?" I held her tight, my own throat closing up. "Never because of you, sweetheart. Never. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Mom and we just need some time apart. But that doesn't change how much I love you." She hugged me tighter. "You're the best dad in the whole world." Those words should have filled me with joy. Instead, they broke my heart all over again. Meanwhile, my lawyer was building our case. She subpoenaed Sarah's phone records, emails, everything. What we found made things even worse. There were messages about Emma, updates on her life, photos I'd taken, shared with Michael behind my back. She got an A on her spelling test. Look at her costume for the school play. She's asking questions about why she doesn't look like Ryan. That last one hit me like a punch to the gut. Emma had noticed. She'd wondered. And Sarah had lied to her too. The court date arrived. Michael showed up with his own lawyer. Turned out he wanted to establish his parental rights now that everything was out in the open. Seeing him in that courtroom, knowing he was trying to take my daughter from me, something in me snapped. "You had 10 years, I said during a recess. confronting him in the hallway. 10 years to step up and be her father. You chose to hide in the shadows, playing Uncle Mike, enjoying the good parts without any of the responsibility. And now that everything's blown up, now you want to be her dad? Michael had the decency to look ashamed. It wasn't like that. Sarah and we thought it was better for Emma. Less confusing. Better for Emma or better for you? You gotta know your daughter without any of the hard parts. Without the 2 a.m. fevers, and the parent-teacher conferences, and the tough conversations. You gotta be the fun uncle who showed up with gifts, and left before things got difficult. Fair? I cut him off. You want to talk about fair? I've been Emma's father for 10 years. I've loved her, raised her, been there for every moment of her life. And you think you can just waltz in now and take that away from me? He met my eyes. She's my daughter, Ryan. Biologically, she's mine. I have a right to know her, to be part of her life. And what about what Emma wants? I challenged. Has anyone thought to ask her? She doesn't know you as her father. To her, you're Uncle Mike, a family friend. Do you really think it's in her best interest to blow up her entire world by telling her the truth now? That gave him pause. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we put Emma first. Not your rights, not my feelings, not Sarah's guilt. Emma. She's 10 years old. She's already dealing with her parents separating. Do we really need to add this on top of it? In the meantime, life moved forward. Emma adapted to the new normal. She spent weekdays with me, weekends with Sarah. And yes, Michael remained in her life as Uncle Mike. It wasn't ideal, but it was what we could manage. Dad? She pushed her peas around her plate. Can I ask you something? Always, sweetheart. That science project, the one about genetics, Mrs. Patterson never let me finish it. She said there was a problem with the samples, but she looked up at me with those intelligent eyes. That's when you and Mom started fighting, wasn't it? Right after that project. My heart stopped. She was too smart. Of course she'd made the connection. I look more like Uncle Mike than I look like you, she continued, her voice small. I've noticed. And Mom and Uncle Mike, they're, I don't know, different together. Like they know each other better than they're supposed to. I set down my fork. This wasn't how we'd planned to do this. She was only 10, but I could see in her eyes that she already knew, or at least suspected. And I'd learned the hard way what secrets could do. Emma, sweetheart, come here. I pulled her into my lap, the way I had when she was little. She curled against me, and I held her tight. She pulled back to look at me. Uncle Mike is my real dad, isn't he? I took a deep breath. Biologically, yes. But Emma, you need to understand something. I am your real dad. I'm the one who was there when you were born, who walked the floor with you at 3 a.m. when you wouldn't sleep, who taught you to ride a bike and helped with your homework and kissed your scraped knees. Biology doesn't make someone a father. Love does. And I have loved you every single day of your life. Tears streamed down her face. But why did Mom lie? Why didn't anyone tell me? Because grown-ups make mistakes, sweetheart. Your mom thought she was protecting you. Uncle Mike thought he was doing the right thing. And I only found out recently. We were going to tell you when you were older, when we thought you could handle it. But it seems like you're smarter than we gave you credit for. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, are you going to leave me? Now that you know. My heart shattered. I held her tighter. Never. Emma, listen to me. You are my daughter. Nothing will ever change that. Not biology, not DNA tests, not anything. You're stuck with me, kiddo. For life. Promise? I promise. You're my girl. Always will be. She hugged me tight. And we both cried. It wasn't the perfect way to have this conversation. It wasn't how we'd planned. But in some ways, it was better, because it was honest. No more secrets, no more lies. That night, after Emma went to bed, I sat alone in my living room and thought about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the lies, the pain. And I thought about what came next. Because here's the thing about paternity fraud. It's not just about the man who was deceived. It's about the child caught in the middle. Emma didn't ask to be born into this situation. She didn't ask for her mother's lies or her biological father's cowardice or my pain. But she was dealing with all of it anyway. So here's what I learned from all of this. Here's the advice I'd give to anyone going through something similar. Second, love is not biological. The bond you have with a child you've raised is real, regardless of DNA. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Emma is my daughter. Period. Third, get good legal advice. Immediately. Paternity fraud cases are complex. You need someone who knows the law, who can protect your rights and the child's best interests. And finally, forgiveness is possible, but it takes time. Am I over what Sarah did? No. Will I ever fully trust her again? Probably not. But for Emma's sake, we found a way to co-parent, to be civil, to put our daughter first. As for Michael, well, that's complicated. He sees Emma regularly now. She knows the truth, knows he's her biological father. But she still calls me Dad, and that's enough for me. The baby trap didn't just trap me. It trapped Emma, too. And Michael. And even Sarah, in her own way. We're all living with the consequences of choices made 10 years ago. But we're moving forward. One day at a time. Building something honest from the ruins of all those lies. And Emma? She's thriving. Still gets straight A's. Still hugs me tight when I pick her up from school. Still tells me I'm the best dad in the world. And you know what? She's right. Because being a father isn't about biology. It's about showing up. Every single day. Choosing love over anger. Choosing honesty over secrets. Choosing your child over your pride. That's what makes a father. That's what makes a family. Emma is my daughter. Not because of DNA. Because of love.